On Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. We're broadcasting on close to 800 stations around the country, on Pacifica and NPR stations, on low-power FM, college and community stations, on public access TV and PBS TV stations, and both TV satellite networks, on Dish Network Channel 9415 Free Speech TV, 9410 Link TV, and on DirecTV Channel 375. And we're video and audio podcasting at democracynow.org. We're broadcasting today from the PBS station, WOUB, here in Athens in Ohio University. I'm Amy Goodman as we turn now to the Nobel Peace Prize-winning Kenyan environmentalist, lawmaker, and civil society activist Wangari Maathai. She spearheaded the struggle against state-backed deforestation and founded the Greenbelt movement in 1977 in Kenya, which has planted over 45 million trees in the African country. She's also been an outspoken advocate for women's rights and democratic development. And in 2002, she was elected to the Kenyan parliament. Her latest book goes beyond Kenya to tackle the broad obstacles to living in peace, justice, environmental, and economic security for the 1 billion people across the continent of Africa. It's called The Challenge for Africa. It was published this week. Wangari Maathai joins us now from our Firehouse studio in New York. Wangari, it's great to be with you from Ohio.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here, and it's great to see you, Amy.
Well, I wanted to ask you, I haven't talked to you since Barack Obama became president. Barack Obama, the son of a Kenyan man, a man from your own country. What are your thoughts about our new president?
Well, I think that it's a wonderful historic period that we are living in, and President Obama has given new hope not only to the people of this great country, to which I owe a lot personally, but also to the world. And in Africa, of course, he's a great hero. Many children are being called Obama, and he is really putting on a challenge for leadership in that continent.
Do you know his family at all?
I know his family. I have the privilege of knowing his family. I met his father for a very, very short time in Kenya, and it's sorry he died too young. But he has given us a great legacy in his son.
Can you talk about, first, how you became an environmentalist? What first sparked you? The Greenbelt movement, and then taking that large to all of Africa, what you're doing today.
Well, for anybody who sees the film that will be showing next week in PBS, called Taking Root, and then read this book, The Challenge for Africa, will see how I started, first and foremost, as a project for the National Council of Women, responding to the basic needs of women from the countryside and who were members of the National Council of Women, and how that led me into a tree planting campaign, encouraging women to form groups, and how that led me into governance issues when I saw that when you have a non-democratic, a non-accountable, a non-caring, a greedy government, that it is very easy to destroy the environment and to destroy the livelihoods of the very people you are leading. And then I started advocating for basic human rights. And then how that led me to deciding that maybe I should become a legislator myself. And how in the course of all those 30 years, I have come to realize that, that what we need is a very holistic approach to Africans' issues, and that we need to understand that it is not one track, that there are many issues that need to be approached simultaneously, as we have tried to do in the Greenbelt movement.
You have written about, in Time magazine, you had an article last month, in Los Angeles Times rather, where are Africa's Obamas? What do you mean?
What I was reflecting on is the fact that the Obama phenomenon is such an inspiring story in Africa, and young people and leaders in Africa are talking about Obama, are enthusiastic about Obama, are looking up to Obama, and yet they are not creating in Africa an environment, a peaceful environment, a democratic environment, a conducive environment for the little Obamas in Africa to realize their potential. Because after all, there's so many young people who were born at the same time that Obama was born. And the challenge I was putting to the African leadership is, if this young man had grown up in this region, would he have been able to exploit his potential the way he has been able to do it in the United States of America? Does one have to go to the United States of America to experience their potential? So in a way, I was putting a challenge to ourselves to create the kind of conducive environment where our children can experience their full potential.
Wangari Maathai, you've won the Nobel Peace Prize, and I was wondering about your response to President Obama escalating the war in Afghanistan. Though he did initially oppose the war in Iraq, he's taken a different approach with Afghanistan.
Well, quite obviously, it's always very easy to criticize from a distance, and especially without the insight and the inside story. We would want to see the war end, but we also know that the world is not as peaceful as we would want it to be. So I'm really hoping that with his commitment to end the war, that he will do whatever it takes to ensure that we have peace. I have been encouraged by the fact that he has indicated that he wants to engage in diplomacy. He wants to reach out to the people who were seen as enemies, and I'm hoping that that's an indication that he wants to provide leadership in the world that is not aggressive, that is engaging, that is willing to listen. And I think he has been expressing that a lot as he talks to the rest of the world. And I'm hoping that the world will respond accordingly. But as I say, it's always very easy to criticize and to take positions when you do not have the wisdom of what goes on behind the curtain.
What about what's happening in your own country, Wangari Maathai? You served in Parliament. Now what is happening to human rights activists in Kenya?
Well, as you know, recently we have heightened our voices against the violations of human rights in Kenya, and especially extrajudicial killings of members of the Mugeke sect, which have given the police an excuse to kill innocent people. And we have seen cases, clear cases, where innocent young men and women have been killed. And we are very saddened by the fact that this is happening during the time of President Kibaki, a man who came to power promising zero tolerance to corruption, promising full rights, promising a better country, a better Kenya, a better governed country. So many people have been disappointed, and as a result of that disappointment, which actually goes back to 2003, when he first refused to honor the Memorandum of Understanding, we have had so much division in the government, outside the government, and the worst part of it was when it was acted out last year in January. The escalation is still going on, and we are hoping that we can find a solution. We have the benefit of having Kofi Annan, the former Secretary General of the United Nations, helping us to come to the round table and to discuss. So we are hopeful, but we should not be we should not lose sight of the fact that there is a very serious undercurrent of tension and competition among politicians.
Wangari Maathai, with the Kyoto Protocol expiring, there's a major climate conference, global environment conference in Sweden in December. Can you talk about the significance of this? Will you be going?
Well, I will definitely please God, be going to Copenhagen. And my main take is to encourage governments to consider forests as part of the solution. We have been encouraged by the fact that the United States of America this time is very much on board, thanks to the position that the Obama administration has taken, and the world is encouraged. And we hope that the third world, especially the African region, will be listened to in terms of being assisted to protect the Congo forest. As you know, the Congo forest is the second largest forest in the world, second only to the Amazon, and the third forest block